everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. Today we're doing our second movie in the Woody Allen, what would you call it, movie series, although this isn't one that he directed. Again, he does have a, what would you call it, Marco, kind of a small to medium part. And did you say that he wrote this movie, or what?
Yeah, he wrote the whole thing.
He wrote the whole thing. Oh.
The whole thing.
Well, okay. So, like I said, this isn't necessarily where he directs everything. As he's either acted, written, and or directed these movies that we picked out to do. We haven't picked out every single one. We just picked out a select few.
I guess it's safe to say that I picked two bad movies of Woody Allen's. Safi picked three movies that might be good or bad, 3 or 4, and I would just say, I think that for both Casino Royale and this movie, I was kind of hoodwinked into choosing them because I was under the assumption that Woody and Peter Sellers would be starring in the movies. I was under the assumption that it would be a lot more like his later movies in terms of being more focused and, connected. But instead, I would say that both of these movies were like a rude surprise. They were kind of like they were like if you show up at a surprise party and you don't like surprises or something like that. That's what these movies are like. And this movie, I would say, was even worse than Casino Royale. What's New, Pussycat is the movie. And because Peter O'Toole is the star of this movie, and he is really, really creepy. I did fall asleep watching Lawrence of Arabia. I don't really know what else of his that I've seen, but he's a really, really creepy character. He has these weird feminine eyes, and he has the look of a 1920s actor, but at the same time his voice is a little feminine, and so he's really, really creepy. And to be honest, watching him interact with women is really, really creepy. And so that's what this whole movie is. It's all about this guy who's a sex addict, but he wants to get married to this girl, and so he goes to Peter Sellers, who's a therapist, psychiatrist for help, and Peter Sellers is also crazy, and that's another thing. I did not know that Peter Sellers was going to be wearing this weird wig the whole movie. I thought maybe that would just be on for a scene or two, is a role play scenario, here, you're gonna have to interact with a woman like you're just friends. You're not gonna take her home or anything. And so then he'd put on a wig, and he'd be like, okay, pretend like I'm a girl. That would have been really funny, stuff like that. But no, he's that way the whole movie with this weird wig. And yeah, I hate this movie. I think that, they said that Woody Allen, after the chaotic production of Casino Royale, he said, I need to take control of my movies, and I need to do all the stuff. I'm not going to be the tertiary character, and I'm not going to not direct the movie, because there needs to be some quality control here, because the vision is not getting realized. And you can tell that with these two movies. It feels Woody Allen needs to go up there, he needs to get a big whip, and he needs to go whoosh, 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 because these movies are just not good. Both of these movies we watched, they are not good. Safi might like them. She's got really bad taste. She likes On a Golden Pond and shit. But
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like that movie either. Well,
you
it's
don't?
Okay. It's more. It's certainly more focused.
Here, this is On a Golden Pond. This is the whole movie. I'm an old person and I'm about to die. That's the movie. That's the whole movie. It's the old people die movie.
Relationship between the father and the daughter.
No, it's about an old person dying.
Grandchild. that too. Anyway,
What about your
I
review?
I did not like Casino Royale at all.
Mm.
And I did not like this movie, although I thought it was a little bit more focused, although I didn't like the story. I fell asleep during it too.
What I did was, this was late at night, and so I get tired, and I wasn't really in the mood to do anything else except play a video game. Would have been really fun, but so I put it on my phone because now the special website is not working on the Mac either because the Mac is so old, need to get a new one. So I just walked around the room for an hour and a half watching the movie because it was so bad. I was like zoning out and like basically just it's what, you know, bad movies, what happens is you just zone out because there's just nothing interesting going on. And so I would zone in and out, and I basically did a workout watching the bad movie. Safi?
You workout before you went to sleep?
Yeah.
And you actually went to sleep?
Yeah.
Usually, they say not to do that because usually it keeps you from sleeping.
No.
Because you've woken up your body.
I'm a man. It's different for me.
No, don't say that bullshit to me, because that's bull.
I'm a man.
Don't do it. Marco's kidding, and don't take him seriously.
Oh, so I'm not a man?
If he said he went to sleep, he went to sleep. So anyway, well, I watched it in parts.
Yeah, Safi fell asleep.
But I did keep falling asleep because basically this guy has a sex addiction.
Yeah.
And it was, and I, I don't know. I thought this was. No, I saw Lawrence of Arabia too, and
you also fell asleep watching
I
that.
didn't like it. That went on. That was way too long a movie. But he was in several epic, like movies.
Boring movies.
And this was. He made a lot of different movies. He never. I did look him up to see if he was still alive. No, he's not. He never got an Oscar. And I guess that's coming up tonight, the Oscars.
Who cares?
Yeah. And, but he did get an honorary Oscar, and he got, I think he won a Golden Globe or whatever. I just, I don't want to, I'm just not in the mood to see a movie about, although I didn't know what it was about, you know, I didn't see any trail. I'd heard the song a million times when I was growing up. Sung by Tom Jones from Wales. I don't think he's still alive. And this was a 60s movie as well as the other one. Would you say this is 65?
Yeah. So this is 2 years before Casino Royale.
Yeah. So, and another thing, Ursula Andress, who was in the other movie and had really, I think, a lot bigger part in the other movie. She was in this, and I don't know why she was in it, because her part was unnecessary. Again, what Marco alluded to was this quality control issue.
Yeah.
And there's just another thing. They put too much. It started out as very single issue driven, but then they started adding these pieces, and by the end it went insane, and they went crazy, and there's just a whole bunch of people, and it's just...
Yeah, this movie ended the same way Casino Royale ended, which was basically a bunch of people running around on screen. And it makes me think, like, is that the default ending for these older movies? It's like, you get all the characters and they run around on screen together, and it's like, oh, okay, the end. That's a finale.
I don't know. I just, they're just, and Woody Allen, his part was very, I really didn't understand why he was even in the movie, basically, because he didn't fit in with the part. Now, Peter Sellers, he was a psychiatrist. He was a sex addict psychiatrist. Or I should say psychoanalyst. Was Woody Allen in the group session?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't either. I don't remember, but
I have no idea. I
Yeah.
barely got through the movie.
Well, they had for his illness. I don't know if they would do that in group sessions for somebody who's a sex addict, because then
No, I've seen that before. They had that in Blades of Glory.
for sex addiction.
Yeah, don't you remember that movie? They had that in the movie. Remember?
I just didn't realize they would have group, because you're talking about a bunch of sex addicts together, and I don't know.
Well, that's what happened in the movie. Was like, he the character was hooking up, or he wanted to hook up with other members in the group, and there was that one girl there to entrap him.
Yeah. But so here he is,
Reluctantly.
and basically the story is what Marco said, and they put a little twister thing in there, which to me it didn't add to the story either. They had her parents come, and she told him that she wanted to get married, and she considered that they would just live together to see what it was like, and then they would get married to kind of like satisfy him. And and then it ended up her parents came to visit, but they didn't want this living together. They wanted them if they wanted to be together, either get married or forget it. And they weren't going to be supportive if they didn't get married. But they weren't really overpowering. I mean, it didn't add anything, I don't think, to the story what they were going to do, whether they showed up or not. It was just another add-in thing that was just too much. And Marco, why don't you tell them what your favorite scene was? Because in thinking back, I guess I'll say what one of my favorite scenes was. The one that Marco likes was very specific, and it was interesting, and it had Woody Allen in it, which is why we did this special week or two with Woody Allen movies. But this one was, and I don't even, oh yeah, I think he did. They all went on go-karts and were flying around.
They were doing Mario Kart in real life.
And I could tell they were having a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
they really liked it.
They had smiles on their faces.
You could tell that they really enjoyed doing that, but to me, that didn't add anything to it either. It was just, that was when it was a mess. It was almost collapsing into this big mess with a bunch of people, and they were all going crazy. And I'm not talking about sex addiction necessarily. They just all ran. There was a police. They were acting up at this chalet or something, and they called the cops on them. The cops were all standing in a line because it was like a big, massive riot of these weirdos, including Woody Allen and Peter Sellers and his wife and all these women. Paula Prentice was in it. I think she was introduced, as well as Woody Allen. They said him too. They both introduced them in the movie, in the beginning and the credits. And so after they escaped this police lineup, that's when they found this go-kart place and got on the go-karts, and then they started running around the countryside driving these go-karts. And I like that just because they just looked like they were having fun, but it didn't add anything to the movie except making it goofy and fun. But I mean, that's not the whole movie. That's just a part. It doesn't add anything to the story. So go ahead, tell them what your favorite part was.
There was a part where Woody Allen went to this place in the middle of or next to the ocean so that he could celebrate his dinner. And he had this like big birthday dinner, and then at the same time, Peter Sellers went there to commit suicide by setting himself on fire on a boat, like a Viking funeral. And so, basically, Woody interrupts the suicide attempt and makes it impossible, and they start talking together. And eventually, it's like Peter has to help him with his problems. And I was like, see. This part should have been the whole movie, because this is the part that feels like, yeah, it's simple. It kind of reminded me of Hitch, the movie with Will Smith and Kevin James or whatever the fuck, So I thought that was actually really, really good, and I thought it was a little funny too, and yeah. Right, Safi?
Yeah, and also I wanted to say that Marco brought it up with this. Peter Sellers wore this wig,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you've ever heard of the painting, the Blue Boy. I don't know who did it. I don't know what century, maybe 16th century. I don't know.
It actually looks like Lord Farquaad in Shrek.
Oh, Fauntleroy. Lord Fauntleroy. He wears, in the movie,
Fauntleroy?
Yeah, Fauntleroy.
What?
Oh, that thing with Little Lord Fauntleroy.
What?
I'm probably not saying it properly, but they had this...
No, Farquaad from Shrek.
Well, there's also Little Lord Fauntleroy. It was a movie,
fuck?
an old black and white movie.
Oh, God.
And
from the 1700s?
they didn't have movies in the 1700s. But anyway...
They do on Netflix, and they're very diverse.
Anyway, this movie, Peter Sellers was dressed like that. He had a velvet. He would wear this velvet suit. So you're talking about a velvet jacket, velvet pants, and kind of like a satiny shirt and a tie. And then his hair was this long wig with a curled under bangs. And then, of course, he wears his glasses because he wears glasses. And and like I thought too, he was wearing that, and to do because we found out he was a psychiatrist or was doing some kind of role play or something. But he wore it the entire movie, and then he kept putting on this velvet suit, which is like Blue Boy or Little Lord Fauntleroy would wear.
There were two other funny jokes. Number one, there's a part where Peter is with this girl and they're on the stairway, and this other woman is trying to get them, and he says, "You don't really see this. This is an illusion." And then she closes the door and she counts to 3 and she opens it up and they're going up the stairs. I thought that was really funny because it was like silly and stupid. And there was also a part where all these women were running into Peter O'Toole's room while his fiancée was in there with him. And Ursula comes in there in a bikini. And that's probably why she was in the movie. And Peter O'Toole says, "She has a PhD!" is the reason why she was in there or something. I thought that was really funny too. But I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to like anything about this movie. Because it's so bad.
Yeah, just basically that scene that Marco spoke of about being in the parking lot where Peter Sellers...
No, wasn't that a dock or something?
I thought it looked like a parking lot
to me. Because remember, he wanted to get on the boat like a Viking funeral. You know, where they put them on a boat and wrap it up and set it on fire and sail it out to sea.
Oh, well, I guess so. But anyway, that whole part, I bet you anything that Woody Allen wrote that entire, really directed, maybe even just, had the most input into that whole scene. And that was really the best. But the thing with Peter O'Toole,
I didn't like him.
Part, I didn't like.
I didn't like him.
I didn't like that. I don't care about that.
Well, I would care if it's funny, if it's a good story. I would. Like Californication has a lot of that. That's part of the story. They do a really good job, and they, of course, do seasons and seasons and a ton of episodes. But this is just it's so bad. You don't like the main character, so that's another fail. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look and see more about what. But the thing is, we're doing Woody Allen. We're not doing Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, that's why I was really disappointed, because I thought, I was under another impression, and I feel I was
yeah, because the
betrayed.
movie really is about his story, and Woody Allen just has a part in the story, and of course Peter Sellers, because he's a psychoanalyst or whatever, he has a part in the story, but the main character is Peter O'Toole. Of course, they show a lot of Paula Prentice, who I looked up. If you know who that is, she's married to Richard Benjamin. They did a lot of stuff together in the 60s and on. They were on lots of TV shows, and I guess they both did some movies, but they're still married. They've been married for like 67 years or something, which is pretty cool and very unusual. So, but other than that, I don't think there's anything else to say about the movie. I remember
it's really bad.
In the last movie, Marco talked about makeup and clothing, and they did have some neat 60s. It wasn't like Casino Royale, which it seemed like, for James Bond, they always showed these Bond women, and they had on these magnificent outfits and fashion. And, this is the 60s, so they did have some really, but it wasn't as much as in Casino Royale. Of course, that was like too much of everything. But, and of course, the bright colors, and but there's just nothing much else to say about the movie, except to give our reviews, unless Marco has anything else to say.
No.
Okay, well, I just gave it, the other day we tried to get a Shamrock Shake at McDonald's, and for some reason they had
all the other shake flavors.
Yeah, but what about
and
that
they
thing
had
you usually get?
a Shamrock McFlurry, but they didn't have a Shamrock Shake.
Which is, I don't get that. If they could have the McFlurry, why couldn't they have the shake?
I
makes no
do
sense.
not know.
So, but anyway, in the recent past, we try to have like one Shamrock Shake a year. It's kind of
we have a couple, like four or five.
Well, I just have one. And
maybe 6 or 7.
Oh no!
8 or 9.
He's lying.
20.
But anyway,
30.
it's just kind of like a thing. Every year you might have one thing that's associated with the season of whatever is happening, and so a while back they were really good and rich. And I think they've gone back to that with the shakes, because we ended up having a shake. I had a strawberry. I think Marco had a chocolate. And mine was really good. It tasted like a real strawberry shake. But they had a period of time, I don't know what they did, but I ate like a Shamrock Shake, and then the other shakes started to get like it too. They were powdery. Like the powder hadn't dissolved into the ice cream. And it wasn't good. It was just, it tasted fake, and it wasn't totally mixed. So you could taste the powder. And so that's what I would equate this movie to, that you expect to have like a shake that had a specific flavor, and it was all together, but it's not. It's made with some kind of powder. Maybe they're still made with powder, but they did buy a new ice cream machine after having it break 1,000 times, which they did. We would go every week, and this would be in the middle of summer when people would want to buy ice cream, and the machine was broken down all the time. Well, apparently this was a nationwide problem, and they finally got it replaced. And so it could have been due to the ice cream machine. I don't know. I have no idea, but anyway, the movie was like this. It was just like with the powder not totally mixed into the shake. So it was deficient. It wasn't good. So, what do you think, Marco? What's your food review?
This movie reminds me a lot of food items that are mystery flavored, where you eat something, you think it's gonna be, this will be a fun mystery flavor thing. And then you eat it, and it's like, ooh, I don't know what that is, but I really don't like it. And G Fuel, which I love drinking, G Fuel used to have a mystery flavor, and people liked it so much that there was this one guy, he said it was his favorite flavor. But I finally got it at a certain point. I don't think I got a whole thing. I think I just got a sample packets.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
It was really, really weird, and I did not like it at all. It was very powdery. I could not tell what it was, and apparently it was like monk fruit or something like that, and ew, God, it was weird.
Doesn't sound good.
And it just, sometimes mystery flavors can be fun, but other times they can be really, really off-putting, especially because you don't know what it is, and this movie was very off-putting.
Yeah.
I would not watch it again.
No.
Of course, Safi would, because she loves seeing Ursula Andress in a bikini.
Oh, for God's sake.
Right, Safi?
It wasn't even bikini. I think it was bikini underwear.
Oh.
So it was like an underwear set, like a matching bra and underwear, because it was orange and it didn't look thick enough to be a swimming suit. And this was a chalet, which it wasn't, I don't think people were swimming there. It seemed like it was more of a winter, fall, too cold to do that. Because they were still wearing coats. So,
You excited to go swimming, Safi?
unless they had an indoor pool,
This
but
year?
they didn't show any other people wearing swimming suits.
You excited to go swimming this year?
No, really.
Why?
I don't know. So anyway, that's it. So then I don't know what's the next movie going to be, Marco?
Well, let's look at the list.
Okay. Well, how many total movies did we pick?
5.
Okay, that's what I thought. So you picked 2 and I picked 3.
Oh, God. Yeah, Hannah and her sisters.
Okay,
Ugh.
the next one is Hannah and her sisters, and I do believe that in this one, at least one person won an Oscar.
Okay.
And so, well, I think one of the girls. And when
I mean, that is what the movie's about. It says Hannah and her sisters, so I would guess from that title alone that a woman probably won the
it could have
award.
been Woody Allen who won an Oscar. So.
I don't think so. He just does the same thing. Hey, I'm Woody Allen. I'm small and I'm sexually inadequate and I don't know what to do.
And I
I'm
know
awkward
about it.
around women.
And he does it. And I think the last 2 movies, I think that, like I said, that's totally him. And he did it in this movie, too, but he wasn't he was more he had more authority, but it still comes through, because he is. I mean, Peter O'Toole was very, like, elegant, tall man who that guy could have been maybe James Bond.
Ugh.
You know, he's part Irish. I think he's mostly Irish.
Peter O'Toole?
Yeah.
Oh, that explains it.
What do you mean by that? We are part Irish too, dear.
I know.
And that we're part a lot of things, but we are part.
No, because his last name is O'Toole, so that's an Irish kind of name. So I said that explains it.
Yeah.
God, Safi, you're so mean.
So anyway, and he was, and when he said it was his birthday, in that one scene he was celebrating, he said he was 27. So I mean, I'm wondering if he was 27, because he did look very young.
He was born in 1935, so.
Well, 65 minus
30.
35, so he's about 30.
Yeah.
And so he is young. He's not 60 or 70. I don't know how old he is now.
He's going to be 90 this year.
Is he
I believe.
really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't believe it. So anyway, that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. And if you have anything to say about Woody Allen movies, or Peter O'Toole, or Ursula Andress, or Peter Sellers, or any of these people, give us a comment and we'll post it, and that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.